Jordan is a very original artist. It's one of the reasons I love him, and hey VC, welcome to the show where I talk about the people I enjoy listening to, the people that have helped me become the person I am today. Whether it is somebody from my deep past when I was a little kid or someone current. I call them influencers, and that's also the name of this show. I'm TC Kirkham, the Kirkham Report. This is going to be a little bit of a different episode because I'm going to talk about somebody who is currently a major influencer in my musical life. Now, a lot of the artists I've talked about continue to influence me, but this artist is relatively new to my group of people that I really enjoy and I go out of my way to find music from because I find him so creative. I first found him in 2009, and since that time I have been an enormous fan. It's hard to believe that he's been doing music for almost 15 years. I'm going to ask you though, do you know who this gentleman is? Chances are good that if you're not a digital music fan, you aren't going to know who this gentleman is. His name is Jordan Witzigreuter, and his best-known moniker is the Ready Set. He had a pretty big hit in 2010 called Love Like Woe, another minor hit, a couple of other minor hits, Young Forever and Give Me Your Hand. But mostly, he has a loyal core following of fans that hang on his every song, because he's so creative and so talented. He does electronic dance pop for the most part. And I've been following him since I first discovered him, actually in 2010, not 2009. I went back and got his earlier stuff. At the time Jordan first clicked, I think he was 20 or 21. He was still new in the industry, but he had really first made his mark on, get this, MySpace. His first two albums were released through MySpace, self-produced albums, and stuff that he was learning while he was playing drums in a local band in his hometown of Fort Wayne while he was still in high school. The first album, Syntax and Bright Lights, and the second album, Tantrum Castle, are really, really difficult to find on CD. They were both released on CD, but they are almost impossible to find these days, simply because there weren't that many of them made. Some of my favorite stuff from him came from these early albums. His cover of Coldplay's The Scientist is top notch. Another song called Aileron, which relates airplanes and romance in a very strange way. A song he wrote about a friend called 68, which never, the slow version is the one I prefer. I don't like the dance version that well. About a friend he wrote about. And during this time, he got the attention of Pete Wentz of Fall Out Boy. Wentz was the co-founder and co-owner of Decadence Records, and which was distributed by Sire, which is in turn distributed by Warner Brothers, and signed Jordan to his first major label deal. Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to show some of these albums rather rapidly. But I'm also going to talk more about singles and EPs and stuff that really has only been available digitally, and about different projects he's done that changed the way that he was doing things for a while. In any case, his first album, his first major release was I'm Alive, I'm Dreamin', which came out in 2010. It included his top 40 hit Love Like Whoa, which was the song that broke him big on MTV. Also, the follow up single More Than Alive. I personally really liked Spinnin'. And another song on the album, Stays For the Same, he'd released independently before the album came out. And I also have the extended mix, so I have two extra songs, The Ghost of Los Angeles and Giants, which originally appeared on Tantrum Castle. Um, there was something about Jordan that caught me from the very beginning. I liked his creative writing. I liked his style of music. He does everything on his computer. Um, and he released everything digitally in the beginning, but it was on CD at first. And most of it, of his early stuff and most of his major label stuff, has been on CD or vinyl and cassette. It's more recent projects that are digital only, and we'll get to those. I'm Alive, I'm Dreamin' was a great album. It was a great introduction to his style. The video for Love Like Whoa, which and the video for More Than Alive, which is a direct follow-up to that video, feature these odd-looking crosses between zombies and ghouls, with Pete Wentz, one of the lead ones, and Jordan as the protagonist young hero in them. They're quite amusing. The songs are quite good, and he brings across um, a level of ordinary to you. He's your kid next door, and that's why I like him so much. The music he's producing, he's doing all himself in his studio on his little laptop, and that's pretty impressive to me. I couldn't do that. I mean, I wouldn't even try to do that. Well, actually, I have a keyboard, and I do intend to try to do something eventually. Now that I got the new computer, maybe a little bit more. This album led to a EP that came out roughly a year later, and that EP was called Feel Good Now. Feel Good Now came out between the first two full-length albums and contained his hit single Forever Young, which was Young Forever, excuse me. There's too many songs with those words in the title. Um, and had some really great stuff on it. A couple of other tracks were pushed to radio, but it didn't do much. And Young Forever didn't get much radio airplay, even though it did get a lot of play on MTV and on video stations. It's a great little EP. My favorite song is Killer, and it's because of the video where Jordan is playing every single instrument. I mean, he's got doppelgangers all over the place. The editing is fantastic. A lot of the videos, especially the later ones, he has actually had a great deal of input on, and has actually directed some of them. But he's had some really good stuff done by Pete Wentz and other people. Now, at the time that these were going on, when he was with Decadence Records, he had a YouTube show that was actually one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It was him on tour doing crazy stuff with the traveling members of his band, and also doing these odd comedy bits with Pete Wentz, and doing some odd comedy bits by himself, including a Bob Ross imitation, which had me on the floor. Jordan's talent extends beyond music. It's writing, it's directing, it's producing, as we'll see. It is mixing. Is a mix artist as well, and he can act if he puts his mind to it. He's very good at it. The videos from this YouTube series, I don't know if they're still up. I will double check, and if they are, I will have a link to them. But he is they were insanely goofy. And they were aimed at an audience far younger than me, because by the time I discovered him, I was pushing 50, and I really was surprised at how much I really enjoyed the music and how much I enjoyed him. I think he's a brilliant writer, and I think he does some incredible... I mean, his stuff is just so original to me that I can't get enough of it, and he's still regularly on my playlist. I have everything digitally, including those two hard-to-find first albums and a ton of singles that he's never released on albums. Following the second EP, Feel Good Now, he released a instrumental of that particular album, with 7 songs on it. They had the instrumental versions of those 7 songs. And those of us who bought them from his online fan club at the time also got an original artwork piece from Jordan. It's basically a small caricature with his signature. It's really cute, and unfortunately, I can't find it. I have it. It's still stored in the tube that it came in. I'm going to frame it and put it up one of these days. I looked around for it tonight, and I couldn't find it, and I'm sorry because I was going to show it off. But he's a talented artist, too. And he does that on some of those videos that I mentioned. The next album, to me, would be interesting. Number one, because he jumped labels. He left Decadence and signed with Razor and Tie, who is best known, or was best known at the time, as an oldies label, for the release of his second full-length album, The Bad and the Better. This album is, quite honestly, a masterpiece. I mean, he does great music anyway, but this album is full of amazing stuff, and I really wish that he had actually stuck with this kind of speed, because I thought he was doing really, really well with it. Higher, Freaking Me Out, Are We Happy Now, Fangs, Carry Me Home, Luxury, Bitter and the Sweetness, Don't You Need Me, Bleeding, Castaway, Give Me Your Hand, best song ever, which also became a hit, For the Better, More Than This, and Terrible Things. The EP version, which just has 4 songs, has Higher, Freaking Me Out, Give Me Your Hand, and Carry Me Home. This album is a masterpiece for 2 hits off of it for me. Are We Happy Now, which is the best song he's ever recorded as far as I'm concerned, and Bleeding, this wonderful heartbreak song about someone who has been trying to help someone help themselves and can't get through to them. And it is an amazing song, and makes The Bad and the Better my favorite of all of his albums. I love this album to death. I have played it to death. It reached number 75 on Billboard's on the Billboard 200, and Give Me Your Hand got onto the mainstream chart. It did not make the top 40 or the Hot 100, but it did get onto the mainstream chart, and was a pretty big radio hit here in Boston. I know Kiss FM was playing it for a while, so that was good to see. Now, my big problem with what happened next, or what was about to happen, was that he decided to split his time between the Ready Set and a side band, or trio, called Nekokat. Nekokat does some great music too, and I'm not going to get into all of it here. The Restless is my favorite song of theirs. Jordan on lead vocal, teaming up with 2 members of the Summer Set. Let me find their names. Cameron Walker, solo performer, and Jess Bowen, who is with the Summer Set. And Nekokat did some good music. They released 2 extended EPs, Communication and Communication 2, and a third one called Pleasure Beach. And their stuff was good. But overall, I preferred Jordan as Jordan rather than as Nekokat, which is kind of redundant anyway, because Neko is cat in Japanese. So basically the band's name is Cat Cat. I never understood that, especially since Jordan is partial to dogs. He has a dog, or had a dog, I don't know if he still has him, named Backpack. I really loved that album. And in between, again, the stuff with the Ready Set and the stuff with Nekokat, he released 2 EPs, which are among my favorites of his stuff. Just want to pull them up here. One of which was this the Celebrity EP, which featured 4 songs that were inspired by celebrities. There was For the Better, a song for Taylor Swift. The Bees, inspired by Nicolas Cage's terrible rendition of The Wicker Man. I can't remember the 4th song, but a song that quickly became one of my favorites by him, Enamel, which was written for Nina Dobrev while she was on The Vampire Diaries. Amazing song, and one of his best, actually. And I wish it had been out as a single, because it really did, really should have been more attention paid to it. I'm a little disappointed that the Wikipedia doesn't cover the EPs. So let me pop back over to Discogs real quick here while I'm talking. Um, there is the EPs are always good for his stuff because he mines his his unusual ideas on the EPs, like the Celebrity EP, and Feel Good Now was the other official EP. So that's true. I was just trying to remember if there was another one in there. Now, after the stuff, in between the stuff, or around the stuff with Nekokat, he released another full length album, and I am very happy to say that I actually own this one on vinyl. This is I Will Be Nothing Without Your Love. This is his third album. I got this through Black Box, who it showed up one day, as you guys saw about a year ago, and I was ecstatic because I didn't know it was out on vinyl. This has Disappearing Act, Being Afraid, Good Enough, Concrete, I Will Be Nothing Without Your Love, Run With Me, Should We Go Downtown, Swim, No Love, which features Ashley Newman, First, Fire in the Sky, and See You. He did a video for every song on this album, and they can be found on the Hopeless Records website, his third label in 6 years. This album also contains my favorite of Jordan's when it comes to his slow stuff. He's best known for his dance number, but he does do ballads amazingly well. And See You, which is a tribute to a friend he lost, is done with such a stark video, and the music is done so beautifully with sound effects of hospitals and stuff in the back. It just rips you apart every time you hear it. You listen to that lyric and you know he is really hurting when he's writing this, recording it. See You is a masterpiece. The other two best known songs from this album are Good Enough and Disappearing Act. Now, Good Enough is a great song. The video, not so much. Disappearing Act is a camp tour de force. The song is great anyway, but the video is Jordan voguing around in ways that I never thought he was possible of doing, and it's quite hilarious to watch. This album is also brilliant. It's not quite up to Bad and the Better standards, but it has some really fantastic music, and if you like him, you'll love this album. Now, since then, he has yet to release any new full material, although he's released a ton of singles and one more EP, V1, that's it. And it was not a full album. It had 6 new songs on it, including Life in Pink, which was the last minor radio hit he had under that name. And he's also done other stuff that I have in my collection that I, had forgotten about. I have the 45 or the CD single of Saves for the Same, which is original. I have the Christmas singles, which were released. I have the remix singles. I'll Be Waiting, which was another EP with covers on it, mostly his cover of One Headlight, which he did for Billboard, which was really terrific. The single Hollywood Dream, which is awesome. The Give Me Your Hand, which has versions remixed by other artists that he's familiar with, and just so much stuff out here. Christmas music, the Cascades EP, which was the other EP he released before signing with Decadence. So, as I said, he's been all over the road. And since the Nekokat experiment ended, he began performing under the name Onlychild in 2018. And that became frustrating because Onlychild released one EP under the name... Let me find it here. Oh no, that's not what I want. There we go. He released one EP, which had 6 songs on it: Evergreen, Houston Street, Sad Fantasy, and those aren't all together. That has like 2 things. Plus, there was other singles that he released over that course of 3 years, including Chardonnay and Tangerines, Crimson Red, Lost, Royal Blue, Teeth, Thank Me Later, Waste. Um, what's this one? That's Sloppy, and a duet with an artist named Little Hurt, which I had thought was under the Ready set, but it is under Only Child. Of the Jackson Five's "I Want You Back," which came out in 2021, and while the Only Child music is great, it's very different from the sound that Jordan produced as the Ready Set. That sounds very strange, but as the Ready Set, I really dug everything. Only Child kind of rubbed me weird, especially the videos. He did a series of videos for 3 of the songs that were all tied together. The first video was for the first single, which was Sad Fantasy. And it was, I'm trying to figure out how to describe this. It was in a medieval setting, but it wasn't medieval, and Jordan was apparently like this elven king. He had these elvers on, or whatever, that became the leader of his people. And the song is great. The video really doesn't relate to the song at all, and kind of threw me for a loop. He took it even farther with the second single from that album, which was Sloppy. In Sloppy, which is a duet with American Teeth, the band he has also produced, he is this elven king prince again, running through the woods being pursued by some guy with a crossbow. Again, the music doesn't go really with the story of the video. Or if it does, I have been too weirded out to connect it. Now, the songs are good, don't get me wrong. The songs I love, for the most part. But the videos left a very weird taste in my mouth, and it followed that up with the third video in the trilogy for those, which was Waste, where the elven character is laying on his own funeral pyre, apparently shot dead at the end of the last video, singing this song. Jordan, what the hell got into you? The songs were great, but the videos made no sense. And I know you're a creative dude, and I'm not one to sit out here and say, hey, you shouldn't do this. What I'm saying is I don't get what you were trying to do. I liked the music. The music was fine, but I didn't get the videos. I didn't get the videos from the earlier EP either. Just kind of meandering down what looks like probably your neighborhood, singing and weird effects and stuff. I'm not quite sure what you were trying to accomplish with the Only Child identity. That's what I'm saying. But then again, dude, you are just in your very early 30s now, and you're a married man now. You have done all these interesting things, and you have done them for reasons that are important to you. That's fine with me. I can love the music and not get the videos and still enjoy everything that Jordan Witzigreuter has to bring to you. I'm not saying that if you ever see this message to you, I will always love your stuff. But I didn't get the Only Child stuff, which is kind of why I'm glad, for the most part, he has returned to the Ready set. I don't know whether there's going to be anything new from Jordan under that name this year, but he officially appeared in concert at 2 festivals last year as the Ready Set, not as Only Child, which he had done before, and he has gotten back into producing and working with other artists, which he has done for quite a while, and he has produced some pretty big names. Lindsey Sterling, for one. He has produced a number of acts. You can get a list of his production credits on Discogs if you want to look it up. And he writes music with these people. I enjoy his music with Little Hurt, who I had not heard of before I Want You Back, and now I've become a big fan of his also. They teamed up for another duet this year. This time it is as the Ready Set with Little Hurt. So I think Jordan is back to earth, so to speak, as the Ready Set. Now, whether Nekokat will continue in the future, he's still friends with them. They still work together. I don't know. Nekokat has great stuff. They didn't do many videos, but it was a little different, but still closer to that Ready Set vein than the Only Child stuff was vibe-wise. Not to say that any of it is bad. It's not, but it's different. And I can't stress that enough. I cannot stress enough that every artist goes through a period where they're probably doing something that they need to do really badly. With Kelly Clarkson, it was that metal album that bombed that I love, but I think is one of her best albums, but it didn't sell well, and Clive Davis, and her got into it over it. But it was a great album. But it didn't sell. Jordan did the Only Child thing for reasons only Jordan knows, and I'm fine with that. I can listen to the music and really enjoy the songs. I just can't watch the videos. They're not the same kind of videos that Jordan is used to doing, and he's incredibly creative and visual artist. He's done great videos for most of his songs over the years. Like I said, a video for every song on this album. He puts together some amazing stuff, and I don't know whether he's just inputting or if he's actually coming up with a concept for them or what, but they always... I started to first notice it when Good Enough came out, because Good Enough, while it's a terrific song, is another really strange video of Jordan kind of just running around the beach like a desert island or something, or so it's implied, until he gets to a highway. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, and the song has nothing to do with what's going on in the video. That was the first taste of that weirdness that came with Only Child. But whether he is the Ready Set, as he is here, and on the earlier albums, whether he is Nekokat or with Nekokat, or he is the Only Child, he is always going to be Jordan Mark Witzigreuter, the artist. He does amazing stuff. I don't care what moniker he uses. I will always love the music. He changed my perspective on electronic music. I've been a big fan of dance music all my life. I grew up in the disco era. But his style of dance music is mixed with a vibe of party rock, and it's closer to LMFAO than it would be to Peaches and Herb. And yet, some of his stuff does have a Peaches and Herb vibe. Some of his stuff has a Never Shout Never vibe. Some of his stuff has probably got a Leonard Cohen vibe. I don't know. Jordan is a very original artist. It's one of the reasons I love him. And other than the first 3 albums and those early EPs that are out on CD, the later stuff is only digital right now. And if you're not a digital fan, you're going to miss that. It's all on Spotify, but I think it's all on Amazon also. But you're going to miss that part of his career. And now that he's ramping back up as the Ready Set, I hope that a new deal will be forthcoming, or a new album with Hopeless, who seemed to doing well with releasing him on vinyl, because he's never done vinyl before, and I'd love to get The Bad and the Better on vinyl. I mean, I would love to get that on vinyl. I love that album, and I think that he is one of today's most underrated and underseen artists. He has a loyal fan base. A lot of them women. Granted, he's a good-looking guy, a little on the diminutive side, but he is an amazing artist and performer, and it's why I gravitated toward him when Love Like Woe came out. I liked him so much. I loved the first album. I went back and found all the early stuff. I found the Christmas EPs. I got all the other stuff as it came out from the online fan club on Facebook. I'm a huge fan. And if you like electronic music, and if you like pop, 80s and 80s pop, a lot of his stuff has that vibe going through it. Not all that way, but it's some of it is pure EDM. And he does great ballads too, like I said. But he does great stuff, and like another gentleman I admire, Dodry Fire, from Iceland, he has Jordan's most recent appearances have had one of those little push button things in front of him where he's just pushing the beats and singing. I'm like, I could never do that. That takes a lot of knowledge and a lot of know-how on what you're doing. And he's been doing it since he was a kid, taught himself most everything, and has really turned out to be one of the true unsung artists of the 21st century. If you don't know who he is, please find him out. Please seek him out. Seek out those early CDs. Seek out the one vinyl. This is excellent. Like I said, not quite bad and better, but it's really good. And if you like 80s pop, if you like even some of that early 90s pop that was best personified by Jeremy Jordan and Joey Lawrence and people like that, the Ready Set might be for you. If you're more into the alternative vibe, check out the Onlychild stuff. And for a mix of the two, Nekokat slips right in between. It's a little bit of weirdness, a little bit of the Ready Set, and it works for what it was doing. I wish it hadn't taken him away from the Ready Set, but it did, and now he's back, and I'm happy about that. I really enjoy it. And Jordan, if you ever see this, if you listen to this, dude, you are so talented. I wish I had half your talent, and you have truly become one of my artists, my best favorite artists of the 21st century. Thank you for all the great stuff you've done, all the great music you've produced, even the weird Onlychild videos, because the music is still you, and that's what makes it work for me. Thank you for that. And I hope everyone out there will check him out. If you're new to my show, this must really confuse you. But if you're not new to my show, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I enjoy talking about some of the artists I'm passionate about, and the Ready Site / Nekokat / Onlychild / Jordan Witzigreuter is one of those. And I hope that you will check him out. If you've already subscribed, thank you very much. If you haven't, please do. I really appreciate it. And please leave a comment. I love hearing what you have to say. Love replying to you. I make so many new friends that way, and I'm really happy that a lot of you take the time to do that, and I really appreciate it. Don't forget to check out my daily show, Obscuria Vaults, every morning at 11, and all my various shows as they go throughout the week, including Vinyl Recall, Rank This, new show called Label Nova coming soon, the Kirkham Report, and the Radio Retro Countdown, all those shows at 4 p.m. Eastern on their respective days. And next Monday, I will be here live at 6 p.m. with Dawn of Two Hip Chicks for Finding Your Music Mojo, so don't miss that either. For influencers, I'm TC Kirkham, the Kirkham Report. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Ciao, baby.